Did you ever hear about the mysterious lady in Revelation 12? Did you ever wonder, who is she? And what does she have to do with the Catholic nun's 17th century writing called The Mystical City of God? Let's get familiar with Revelations chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Who was this woman, clothed in the sun, and what did it mean? Were the 12 stars symbolic of the 12 tribes of Israel? What was the great wonder, and why was the moon under her feet? And what does it all mean? And furthermore, why did centuries later a nun named Mary Agreda write about Revelations 12 in a book titled The Mystical City of God that almost never saw the light of day and was written twice after the first copy was destroyed? You couldn't exactly hit save on the computer back then, but we'll get back to this. Let's go over Revelations a little bit more. The book of Revelations, also known as the Apocalypse of John, is traditionally attributed to the Apostle John, who is believed to be the author of the Gospel. It is the final book of the New Testament and presents a series of visions and prophecies concerning the end times, the second coming of Christ, and the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom. The book of Revelations as a whole, including this verse, has been interpreted several different times, drawing different conclusions on its text true meaning. Throughout the centuries, theologians, scholars, and interpreters from various Christian traditions have offered different understandings of Revelation 12, often drawing upon their theological perspectives, historical context, and exegetical methods. These interpretations have evolved over time and continue to be diverse within contemporary biblical scholarship and Christian theology. One of the earliest known interpretations of Revelation 12 dates back to the writings of early Christian commentators such as Victorinus of Padua, 3rd century, and Tyconius, 4th century. And what does that all mean? It just means, dating back to the 3rd century, 4th century, there was a lot of different people trying to interpret Revelations 12. It's important to note, these and other interpretations have always been the subject of the Book of Rules, which is known as the Liber Regularum. You heard that right. There's rules to this. A set of rules or filters that set guide rails on how the Bible is to be interpreted. Whether limiting, protective, or both, you got to keep the crazies at bay. In Revelations 12:1 of the Bible, the woman described is often interpreted as representing several different meanings or symbols. These interpretations are not mutually exclusive, and different Christian traditions and theologians may emphasize one interpretation over the others. Here's a few short examples of some of those popular interpretations. The first interpretation is that the woman in Revelations 12:1 is the church. Some interpretations see the woman as representing the church, the body of believers in Jesus Christ. This view emphasizes the symbolic nature of the imagery in Revelation and sees the woman as representing the faithful followers of Christ throughout history. Another interpretation is that the woman is representing Israel. Some interpretations see the woman as representing Israel, God's chosen people. This view emphasizes the historical and covenant relationship between God and the nation of Israel. This is easy to conclude as the 12-pointed crown could easily point to the original 12 tribes of Israel. But could there be more to this picture than just Israel? Well, another interpretation is referred to as the symbol of heavenly Jerusalem. This interpretation identifies the woman as a symbol of the heavenly Jerusalem, representing the city of God and the culmination of God's redemptive plan. Perhaps one of the most mysterious interpretations is the last one we will look at, which is the woman in Revelations 12 is actually Mary, the mother of Jesus. This interpretation identifies the woman as Mary, the mother of Jesus. This interpretation emphasizes the connection between the woman and the birth of Jesus Christ, as described later in Revelation 12. And this is where the Catholic nun Mary Agreda wrote about Revelation 12 in a book titled The Mystical City of God, a book that almost never saw the light of day and was written twice after the first one was destroyed by fire. You couldn't exactly hit save on your computer back then and upload it to the cloud. The first version of the mystical City of God was written between 1637 and 1645. After completing it, Mary of Agreda's spiritual director, Father Francisco Aritz, ordered her to burn the manuscript because of concerns about its theological accuracy and potential misunderstandings of her mystical experiences. Mary of Agreda obeyed this directive and destroyed the original manuscript. So that should be it, right? However, Mary of Agreda claimed to have received a divine command to rewrite the entire work. She began the second version of the mystical City of God in 1645 and completed it in 1660. This second version is the one that has been preserved and published over the centuries. Throughout her life, Mary of Agreda experienced mystical encounters and visions, which she believed were revelations from God. She recorded these experiences and insights in her writings, including The Mystical City of God, which offers profound reflections on the life of the Virgin Mary, as well as theological and spiritual themes within Catholic tradition. Despite facing some skepticism and controversy during her lifetime, Mary of Agreda's writing continues to be studied and respected by many Catholics today for their spiritual depth and insights into the mysteries of faith. During Mary of Agreda's time, societal norms and religious traditions often marginalized women's voices and limited their opportunities for formal education, public discourse, and leadership roles, including within the Catholic Church. As a result, women face significant challenges in gaining recognition and acceptance for their intellectual contributions and spiritual insights. So obviously, there could have been an issue with Mary of Agreda just being a woman and writing this. So let's get back to the verse in Revelation 12 verse 1 and see what Mary of Agreda had to say about this verse. Such are the words of the evangelist. He speaks in the past, because at that time was shown to him a vision of that which was already happened. He says, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. This sign appeared really in the heavens by divine disposition, and was shown to the good and the bad angels, in order that seeing it, they might subject their will to the pleasure and commands of God. They saw it, therefore, before the good ones chose the good, and before the bad ones had turned to evil. Mary of Agreda goes on to describe God's happiness with this sign. In further testimony of this, after the punishment of the disobedient angels, God made use of the sign in order to show that his anger, which the pride of Lucifer had occasioned, was appeased and placated. And according to our way of understanding, he rejoiced in the presence of the queen, thus represented in that image. He gave the angels to understand that, through Christ and his mother, he would now divert upon men the grace which the apostates had lost through their rebellion. As we read further on, let's look into the full breakdown of Revelation 12:1 by Mary of Agreda. The sun, which is mentioned as clothing the woman, is the true sun of justice. The angels were to understand by it that the Most High was to remain with this woman by his grace in order to overshadow and defend her by the protection of his invincible right hand. The moon was beneath her feet, for as the two planets, the sun and the moon, divide night and day. Therefore, the moon, being the symbol of the darkness of sin, is beneath her feet, and the sun, being the symbol of the light of grace, clothes her for all eternity. Thus also the deficiencies of grace in all mortals must be beneath her feet, and never must rise either to her soul or to her body, which on the contrary were to be ever superior to all angels and men. She alone was to be free from the darkness and all the warnings of Lucifer and of Adam, treading them underfoot, without their being able to gain any advantage over her. And just as she rose above all the guilt and the effects of the original and of actual sin, God now placed these in a symbolic matter under her feet, in order that the good angels might know, and the bad ones, though they did not attain full knowledge of the mysteries, might fear this woman even before she came into actual existence. Wow. And there you have it. Who is this woman, Mary of Agreda, who was able to make an impact in a time where it would have been very hard for a woman to even be heard, let alone able to write literature regarding such important topics, which were 100% male-dominated? Mary of Agreda couldn't be denied or dismissed in a time where it would have been really easy to do. What was it about Mary of Agreda's writing that captivated the Catholic Church to believe her that she wrote the mystical city of God because God told her to? I want to thank everybody for following along to our mini documentary. And if you like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate you. Stay blessed. God, family, country.